we're going to talk about 6 ways that you can build your net worth and achieve financial independence. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Financial Freedom Fast Lane. And you know the vibes. The quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to live it. And I'm your host, George Achimpong. This is Financial Freedom Fast Lane. You're trying to build wealth, and ideally, you're trying to do it faster than the average person. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So first up on the list is developing truly passive income streams, right? I think we hear the word passive income and I think it gets a little bit confused in the marketplace because most things that people say are passive aren't truly passive. So when you think about something that's truly passive, it means that you have set it up in a way where that income is not tied to your time, right? That money is going to come in or appreciate in value whether you trade time for it or not. Now, obviously, there's always some level of time, even if it's just logging in and checking the account balance and making sure that it's appropriately structured. But by and large, there should be a large disparity between how you make your money actively versus how you make it passively to truly be able to build wealth. Because if you are trading your time for money, then ultimately that means you have to continue to work in order to build wealth, right? Or in order to provide for your lifestyle, which is not what wealthy people do. Because rich people do the right things, but wealthy people own the right things. So it's all about having truly passive streams of income so that whether you're on vacation, traveling, spending time with your family, those funds are still coming in, right? Make sure that you're prioritizing building those passive income streams. All right, number 2 on the list is building a well-diversified portfolio, okay? You probably heard me say that wealth is made through concentration and it's preserved through diversification. So the concentrated part of that scenario is when you are becoming world-class at what you do best and you're building wealth. Then you take that wealth that you built and you diversify in other asset classes, right? Because if you made the money by building your concentrated asset, then naturally, right, you want to take that money and diversify it accordingly, right? So building a well-diversified portfolio is key towards achieving financial independence. All right, so next on the list is establishing real estate as a part of your investment strategy. I absolutely love the stock market. I think the stock market is probably the most passive way to build wealth, but in reality, real estate produces great cash flow and has amazing tax benefits, right? So adding real estate as a part of your wealth building financial independence strategy, in my opinion, is kind of essential. Now, you don't have to have real estate. You don't have to invest in stocks. But when we think about a well-diversified, a well-rounded strategy, real estate is usually going to be a part of that, right? So whether you decide to do multifamily, short-term rentals, single family, long-term rentals, whatever the case may be, even event spaces, just making sure that you have real estate as a part of your strategy and picking the asset class or the type of real estate that aligns most with either what you know or what you believe will produce the desired result for your financial independence goals. All right, so next on the list is having exposure to alternative. So I got so excited, I hit my computer. Having exposure to alternative asset classes. This can be venture capital, it can be private equity, whatever the case may be, right? Because when you get exposure to these types of asset classes, they are a little bit more risky, but they can have an exponential and outsized return. Some of the private equity deals that I'm invested in, the cash flow on it is 3.5, nearly 4 times greater than what it would be investing traditionally in the stock market, right? And so it's but it's also sometimes less proven and more risky in some instances, right? So making sure that it's not the end all be all, but you have exposure to private equity and even other forms of alternative investing as a part of your strategy. Because when you invest in things like venture capital, like let's say you make 10 investments, you expect 7 to 9 of them to lose. But the one that wins, boy, is the one that takes it to the bank and makes up for all the other losses. We've all heard stories like if you would have invested 5,000 in Uber before it was Uber, right? Like you would have made $5 million. And that's because the real money is made on the exit. By the time it gets to the public markets, right? It's cool, right? You can still build wealth that way, but we're kind of second fiddle at that point. If you have an opportunity to invest in something privately, i.e. getting closer, right, to the ground floor, you have higher exponential chances for gains. You just got to make sure it fits into your risk profile. All right, this one I'm certain that you've heard me talk about before, and that is leveraging your existing assets to acquire more assets, right? So when you have assets, you can leverage them as collateral. And instead of going and buying stuff, that's what most people do when they get access to capital, debt, credit, etc. You take that money, because you listen to me, and you take that money and then you go invest in other assets. Because now what happens is you get to effectively double dip. You leverage one asset that's still growing to then get a line of credit based upon that asset's value to go acquire another asset. And if you really want to get spicy, if that asset produces cash flow, you can reinvest the other cash flow back into the first asset class. And now you're triple dipping, right? Because let's take a real world example. You got a stock market portfolio. You borrow against the value of that portfolio to go buy real estate. That real estate produces cash flow. Then you reinvest the cash flow back into the portfolio, which now it's going to grow and compound in addition to the original investment. That is one of the secret sauces, my personal favorite when it comes to building wealth. And last but not least, put a greater emphasis on cash flow producing assets, right? Put a greater emphasis on cash flow producing assets, because while appreciating in value is amazing, right? Those assets producing cash flow is going to be the thing that actually allows you to stop working. Because if you have a house that you're living in that has appreciated in value, now granted, you could probably take like a home equity line of credit or something like that, but you can't do anything with the money until you sell it or take that line of credit, right? So appreciation is important, but it's one piece of the pie. We also need cash flow. So when you're thinking about different investments, ask yourself, what assets can I invest in that not only just appreciate in value, but also produce cash flow? All right. Hopefully this episode was helpful on your journey towards building your net worth, building towards your financial independence number. I should probably do an episode just truly breaking down how to find your number and the different types of financial independence. Maybe that's my next episode. And from there, you can start to figure out how you are going to become financially free, because this is Financial Freedom Fast Lane. And the quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to live it, right? Freedom is for sale if you're willing to pay the price. Until next episode, guys, peace.